Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today, I'm bringing you the action thriller movie released in 2024. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for support and to make sure you never miss a video and leave a like. Now, let's dive into it. The scene opens with Carter, the guy who thought he was the king of underground boxing after winning a streak of matches. His ego was shattered in seconds when Dalton, the legend everyone whispers about, stepped into the ring. The moment Dalton took off his hoodie, Carter realized he was way out of his league. He decided to throw in the towel, handing the prize to Dalton. But a furious gambler, upset about the loss, attacked Carter with a knife. Big mistake. Dalton, like a superhero, barely flinched as the attacker realized just how badly he had underestimated him. Before leaving, Dalton was approached by Frankie, the owner of a troubled bar. Her offer? Become the head of security for $5,000 a week. Dalton, on the brink of giving up on everything, even life, hesitated. But after his car got pancaked in a fiery train collision, and he walked away almost unscathed, he began to think the offer wasn't so bad after all. When Dalton arrived in the new town, he met Charlie, a bookstore owner with the spirit of a lioness, and soon found his way to the infamous Roadhouse bar. He barely stepped inside before Billy, an overly enthusiastic waiter, recognized him and seemed to be rooting for something big, while Dalton was enjoying a moment of calm. Of course, it didn't last long. The night exploded into chaos. Bottles flying, an all-out brawl, and even the band joining in on the fight. The night's highlight? A biker gang decided to wreck the place. Dalton, in his usual cool demeanor, lured them outside, gave them a John Wick-style beatdown, less gunplay, same charisma, and even had time to get them to the hospital. There, a snarky nurse named Ellie stole the scene with a quick jab. "Do you always lose these fights?" Dalton replied with Zen wisdom, "No one really wins a fight." Working at the Roadhouse was intense, but Dalton began to leave his mark. He trained Billy and partnered with Reef, a former boxer, to create an improvised defense line. Still, his reputation attracted more trouble. The biker gang promised to return, and while Dalton tried to relax on his beat-up boat, aptly named the Boat, creative? Del, the gang's leader, showed up armed. Dalton, moving like a ninja, turned Del into a crocodile's dinner. Literally. Meanwhile, the movie's villain, Brandt, a mob boss fuming over his crew's failures, was losing his cool. His plan to intimidate local business owners was falling apart thanks to Dalton. Between fits of rage, Brandt sent another goon to bring Dalton in by force. Naturally, Dalton left the guy with a broken finger and sent a message back. "If Brandt wants to see me, he knows where to find me." The irony? While Brandt plotted elaborate schemes, Dalton handled everything with a few words and some well-placed punches. An interesting part of the story is Dalton's reluctance to use unnecessary violence, despite being surrounded by chaos. In one moment, he even saved a clumsy drunk and tried to solve the town's problems with calm and humor, a sharp contrast to his haunted past as a UFC fighter. If it were me, I'd have installed cameras at the bar and turned it into a reality show because the drama there beats anything on TV. What I wouldn't do is trust that boat, especially with a crocodile lurking nearby. Now, if you were Dalton, would you take Frankie's offer to work at the Roadhouse, knowing the place is basically a no-rules fight club? Let me know in the comments. I seriously want to hear your thoughts. As for KNX, while nursing a hangover from a night straight out of The Hangover, he got a less-than-friendly call from Brandt's father. The old man wanted KNX to clean up the mess his son made. KNX, always ready to cause chaos, hopped in his Ferrari, rolled into town with flair, and, of course, took out a few motorcycles along the way. At Brandt's mansion, KNX grumbled about the lack of sandwiches. Big man, bigger appetite. When Brandt appeared, KNX greeted him with a slap and a sermon straight from Daddy Dearest. Still, Brandt convinced KNX to give him one more chance to deal with Dalton, the hero who only wanted peace, coffee, and a decent night job. Meanwhile, Ellie took Dalton out on a borrowed boat, leading him to her special place on the water. Things got romantic but awkward when Ellie started digging into Dalton's dark past. He tried to dodge the subject, but Ellie already knew everything and didn't care. The moment grew more intense until Dalton finally opened up. Just a little. Back in town, Brant, thinking he was untouchable, showed up at Charlie's bookstore while KNX, a master of destruction, invaded the roadhouse with a biker gang, turning it into a war zone. Dalton tried to stay calm but ended up in a brutal fight with KNX. With Ellie and the cops arriving to save the day, sort of, the roadhouse was left in ruins. The chaos escalated when Dalton discovered Charlie's bookstore had been torched. This awakened his inner Rambo. He tracked down one of Brant's goons, gave him a swimming lesson in a pool, and got him to spill the details of Brant's plans. Dalton, clearly a Breaking Bad fan, used a bag of cash to incriminate a corrupt cop and planted explosives for good measure. Ellie was kidnapped, her sheriff father was involved, and the tension boiled over when Dalton stormed Brant's estate. After a cinematic explosion, Dalton saved Ellie but not before fighting off more henchmen and escaping in a James Bond-worthy water sequence. With Ellie safe, Brant tried to end things on a boat, but Dalton, clearly a master of turning bad situations around, flipped the script and took Brant down. In the final showdown, KNX returned for round 2 with Dalton. The fight was so intense it deserved a sponsorship from Band-Aid. Even though Dalton was stabbed, he managed to defeat KNX using pieces of wood as improvised weapons. The sheriff arrived to clean up the scene, ensuring Dalton was off the hook but told him to disappear. The town, it seemed, would survive just like the roadhouse. But Dalton, in his signature mysterious style, vanished into the sunset without waiting for a thank you. Fun Easter egg: Dalton's car is the same model driven by Patrick Swayze in the original 1989 movie. A nostalgic nod for fans like me. So, what do you think would have happened if Dalton had taken the money and left town at the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're craving more action and betrayal, check out this next video. Take care, and I'll see you there.